Welcome to the energy of collaboration. This is going to be, hang on, just let it out. What does it say? Hi, Alison. So we have Australia, Canada, and France, which is impressive. See, nice to be all over the place. It was good. So the energy of collaboration. I have always been fascinated about the concept of partnership and collaboration, and particularly fascinated by the fact that so many people seem to run away from it and find it really difficult. When I was working in nonprofits, I'd be talking, very openly with other charities about, what we could do together, and they would be very up for it on the face of it, and then sort of like back off like nobody's business when it came to actually doing something about it. I was fascinated by that because to me, collaboration is such an important part of life, and it's certainly an important part of business, but as I have gone on the journey that I've been on over the last sort of 5, 6, actually, no, it's not, it's way more than that. I keep thinking it's sort of like 5 or 6 years, but it's actually closer to 9, which is horrifying. Where has that time gone? Then I've realized that collaboration is a much more complex concept than just what we tend to think about on a social level of it being about partnership and joint ventures and things like that. There are multiple layers of collaboration that are so critical for us as entrepreneurs when we're running our own businesses. There's so many layers of collaboration that need to be brought into play in order to open up the full level of possibility for us. So we're actually going to finish this session with a little experience into collaborating with possibility. So to me, what collaboration is consciously engaging with energy streams. So if we think about life as energy streams, that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the different aspects of life that come through as energy streams and how you collaborate with them. So it's kind of really important to be aware of those energies, but also think about what is energy doing? What's the point of it? The point of it is to express. So collaboration is an intent to work consciously with an energy in order to express it into form. So intention to form. So you can collaborate on so many levels consciously. It doesn't have to be with another person or another thing, because you actually have so many energy streams running through you. And of course, our means of creating anything, we have two ways of creating everything. At an energetic level, we have the elements, and they are what we create with. And then we have the tools of our creation, which is our body. So we have got so many levels of collaboration just within us that we need to think about. So that conscious choice to be part of a collaborative experience is very broad ranging. So the other thing I think is really important is that when we collaborate internally or externally, then the available energy amplifies beyond what would be available to us with the individual energy streams. And when we collaborate externally, then the amount of return energy is the same for everybody. So you're getting a greater return for less of an input. Whereas when we work on our own and push through on our own and force things through, we actually have a diminishing energy source at our disposal, and the return is less. So to me, it's a no-brainer to collaborate and to embody collaboration principles, because it means that the return is greater for everybody. So there are three essentials for collaboration. One is the willingness to engage with those energies which are amplified. Then there is another piece which is around valuing yourself, this is the tricky bit. This is the bit we've all had to do a lot of work on. And that is valuing yourself inherently. Because unless you value yourself and what you do and how you bring it to others and to the world in general, you can't value your place in a collaboration. So this is a pivotal piece. And I think it's one of the reasons that so many conscious and highly sensitive people struggle so hard with that piece, especially early on, is that journey to learning to value yourself is so critical, because you can't show up in the world until you can value yourself enough. And the third piece is about being unthreatened by the concept of collaboration, that you are not losing anything, you're actually gaining. And actually society is not set up for that. So external collaboration is such an alien concept, because we're still in this competitive frame of mind at a collective level, which of course is not where you're at, but so much of the thinking still seeps through to us. So we sort of have this slightly protective thing going on. And that's sort of reinforced, I think, by a lot of IP rights and stuff like that, which I'm still working through some stuff on that, because I think that there's some that need to protect is kind of getting in the way of a lot of collaborative work. When we are, there's another point I wanted to make, which is that when we're collaborating externally, we're connecting with people, and that is a deeply nourishing process. And the collaboration is the embodiment of that connection, and the recognition of how it nourishes, and therefore moving from a different place. So connection is an absolutely critical starting point for the collaborative process. So what I was going to do now is take you through some core parts of internal collaboration and external collaboration, and then move into this process of just stepping into the energy of collaboration, and sort of beginning to work with that and ask where it's going to take you. So on an internal level, as an individual, you have, I've got, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 specific things written down. And I'll bet you there's more, but this is what came to me when I was thinking about it. So you've got 8 aspects of you that you can collaborate with. So the first is, and the most obvious, is your body. So looking after it, giving it what it needs to function as your means of creation, as your presence on the earth, as your ability to connect and to communicate with everybody else. Your body is your first port of call. And learning to listen to it and respond to it and give it what it needs, and training it to be able to do what you need it to do. Though that's a fundamental part of collaboration. I think it's probably one that we know quite well, because if you go on a fitness streak, you are collaborating with your body on some levels. We kind of get a little bit toxic on that by expecting our bodies to be able to do things that perhaps we haven't nourished it to do. But there is that's the first and the primary bit. The other area that we're very used to is our minds. We're not so used to, I think, in the last decade or so, I think our ability to nourish our minds has probably diminished, because we have so much at our disposal. And you know what it's like when you have too many choices. It's very hard to follow one thing through and to really get all of the gold out of that. So nourishing our minds, I think, has become a little bit more challenging in a very busy society, and challenging our own curiosity. is a form of collaboration that we can really work with. And so our mind is sort of, it is a physical aspect of our body, but it's also the thing that pulls us in lots of different directions. So we have our body and our mind, which is, you know, the bit we're all very well used to using. And then we have our intuition, which is that bit that we can't put a name or a label to, beyond intuition, but it, you know, it's different for all of us. So there's that, there's part of us that has a great deal of insight and knowledge and wisdom, and has the ability to guide us in ways that are right for us, if we choose to collaborate with it and give it a space in our lives and make space to listen to it and to respond to it, and also to strengthen it by using it. So it's intuition. Then we have a sense of purpose. And often when we are in survival mode, that sense of purpose isn't something that we allow to flourish. And yet, I think that would be true for all of you. And I'm sure it'd be true for everybody who's watching on the replay as well. A sense of purpose is fundamental to how you choose to operate in your business. And I'm sure that you probably nurtured it more than that many will have done. It's really important to allow your purpose to speak to how you create your life, because otherwise you can get trapped into creating a life that doesn't have what lights you up featuring strongly in it. It may feature a bit in it, but it won't be centered around that. And that which links very much into the next piece, which is around passion. We all have, I mean, that's my shortcut for that sort of thing that just lights us up, and it doesn't have to be work related. It can be, you know, something completely different. So you might have a passion for skydiving. You know, that's not something you can engage with every single day, but you have a passion, and that the passion is what brings light to your cells, really. Is, I think that's the way I see it, is it's something that just creates this tingle all the way through you. So making space for that and following where that takes you and allowing that a place in your life is collaboration. And the same is true of your vision. So if you have a sense of purpose, you also have this sense of vision of where that purpose is taking you and what your contribution is. So you have your sense of purpose, your passion, and your vision, and they all combine to create this direction that you have in life. So your vision is really about what is it that you're here to change, because you're not here to just change one person's situation or perspective or outlook. You are here to create a critical mass of change. And so there's that vision of what it is that you want to see restored or created or remembered or balanced in the world. And that you all have that, whether or not you give it voice or not is another matter. So I think there's the important thing from today is what I'm saying is to give a voice to these streams of collaboration. And then there is a vital force of energy that runs through you. It's your life force. I mean, and all of these things actually combine to create a life force, but that is more than the sum total of your cells and your body and your mind. But there's a vital force of creative power that flows through you, and you are an incredibly powerful creator. So giving space to understanding that you are capable of creating is really important when we are in a collective space of feeling slightly overwhelmed by the scale of our problems. So we have all of these massive issues going on in the world, huge issues. And as individuals, we can feel completely helpless to do anything about it. And yet we are powerful creators. So if we engage that energy, that opens up so much to us. And the other side of this is the last one, number 8 is presence. We have a presence in the world. It's easy to try and duck it and to try and hide, but we do have a presence, and that presence in itself can create movement and change. It can bring things to us. It can change the field of possibility. And we need to consciously engage with that presence in order to create our lives. So those 8, and I am sure that there are more, I'm sure you can come up with some more. Those 8 streams, they're basically like your energetic DNA. And when you combine them, you create something that is not possible with just the one. So every time we consciously engage with one of these energy streams and we bring it into play with other energy streams that we've engaged with, we're just amplifying our life force, we're amplifying our presence, all of those things become more. We give more space to our passion, we give more space to our intuition, we look after our bodies more, we nourish our minds more, because it's a snowball effect. And what's really happening is we're opening ourselves up to possibility. So, I know you've been doing this inner work, loads of this inner work. The question is, it doesn't just make you more whole, it makes you more capable of engaging with life, collaborating with life in a different way, in a more conscious way, obviously, but in also a more engaged way, as in that you're engaged with all of the forces of life, and therefore you have the ability to take an intention, to take a desire, and make it real very much more quickly than you would do if you were having to do this on one stream of energy alone. And that's what we've been doing. For so long, we've been saying, right, I've got my body and I've got my mind, and that's it. And that, logic and willpower and elbow grease, that's what we've been creating with. But there's more to us. So if we can become more whole in ourselves, and we can bring all of these streams together consciously, then we can take that out into external collaboration. So let me just check if I've missed anything. Yeah, it creates, the other thing I would say is, wanted to cover was the fact that when you are bringing more and more streams together consciously, you're increasing your capacity as well. So it's making it more possible for you to create, and it's also making it more possible for you to receive. So it's like, that's also part of the snowball thing. You're increasing your capacity without diminishing your, it's not taking, when you increase your capacity and you're actively engaging all of these different parts of you, then instead of doing things which then diminish you, everything is on an amplification basis. So you have more energy than you would do otherwise. The important thing is, if you've done that, then you can come into an external collaboration in a completely different frame of, I want to say frame of mind, which obviously is kind of not what I'm trying to say, but it's a frame of reference. You're coming at it from a different perspective. You're coming at it with a different set of possibilities. So there are those 8 that I've identified within you. There's going to be more than this externally, but starting point, we have external areas of collaboration. We have things like family, friends, community, society generally. We've got our colleagues and our peers. We've got your business, if that's what you're doing, or your job, if that's how you function, because that's a collaboration too. We've got the place that you are, being rooted and anchored into your place, and collaborating with your place is very important. Nature, collaborating with nature, which is also an internal collaboration as well. And the seasons, if you have them, or the rhythms, if you're on not on the seasons. Then there's, particularly if you're highly sensitive, you'll be very aware of this, but there's the collective frequency where you collaborate with it, or you choose to tune it out. And you can get, sometimes you're not in a space to collaborate with it, but this is kind of the importance of doing the inner work, the internal collaboration. It changes your ability to collaborate with the external frequency. And then there's, I think, in terms of it's sort of interconnected with the frequency, but there's also the collective beliefs and trends and culture that are emerging, or we have come from, which is really important to be able to engage and collaborate with. So that those some areas that I have identified as for external collaboration, and obviously that's going to look very different for each of you, and you're going to be able to come up with different things, and you'll have different perspectives on all of these, because you're living a different life and therefore you have a different perspective. But it's really to seed your ideas of what does it mean to collaborate with your family? What does it mean to collaborate with your friends? Because you do. And I think, I've been very conscious of this in terms of my family in particular, because when I get very focused in my business, I don't want to be interrupted, but family's job is to interrupt. They're very, very good at it. So it's the being able to shift into being open to creating with, rather than co-experiencing something. So you're choosing to collaborate with them to create something. So you'll have some needs, they'll have some needs. So it's an intention to find a way through that allows you all to I was trying to say flourish and thrive, and it was not going to come out properly. I think it was going to come out as flourish, which is, interesting. But you all want to thrive, and you all want to flourish. So it's about creating that. So really, that when you're thinking about this, it is having that frame of reference that you are choosing to create with. Your collaboration is to create. And obviously my focus is around business, because when you choose to collaborate at an energetic level with your business, then you open up a new set of possibilities. When you choose to create, I'm going to use my words, choose my words carefully. When you choose to build a business using a set of techniques, you're not collaborating with the energy of it. You are using that minimalist energy stream. And that's why so many people get very burnt out by creating their businesses, because they're fundamentally using their own energy to do everything. Whereas if you collaborate with the energy of your business, then you have access to a greater stream of energy, because you're bringing them together, and it's in the togetherness that more is created as a synergy. So there's the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. The same happens with everything, where every aspect that I've identified there, you're talking about creating something that is greater, because you're coming at it with a collaborative mindset. So yes, that it is possible for these principles of collaboration to turn into a joint venture or a strategic partnership, because that's one aspect of it. But it's the principle of choosing to collaborate with in order to create something that we're after here, because it creates a level of synergy that is more focused on the possibilities than the outcome. If we do anything with a specific requirement that there is such and such outcome, then we tend to block the ability to create any other outcome. So it's not a creative process. It's actually a diminishing process. So if we move into a space where we are collaborating with possibility rather than outcome, then we are open to growth on all levels. And if I thought, just literally sort of like, as I was saying that, I was thinking about it. If you think about 300, you're able to grow on 360 degrees rather than actually having only 1 degree of possibility open to you. What was I going to say? Yes, you're not fixed. What I wrote down was, you're not fixed in your view of what should happen, but you are open to what can happen. That's a kind of fundamental difference. So that you are finding the magic and harmony in collaboration that is not available in isolation. So it's consciously choosing to find, create, and be more, because operating with, you're operating with and not against. I've written there. Does that go over? Hang on. Aha, that's where I was going with this. I was just like, I was going, I have talked and talked and talked. Where was I going next with it? Hang on 1 second. Okay, so where I was going next with it, what was I going to say? Right, I think I've sort of covered that, which bringing in multiple energy streams together amplifies the available energy, so way beyond what is available from the individual streams, and the return is always greater than the input when you collaborate, rather than it being often, we want often what we end up doing in business is a particular, but in life as well, we put in more energy than we get out. But actually, when you collaborate, then you have this greater energy returning energy. So, going it alone, not really an option. So what I was going to talk about now was, I wrote a piece on this, and I've done, yes, I have done a video on it as well, around the high heart shift. So the businesses have been governed by the solar plexus chakra for a very long period of time. There's been this evolving heart-based models for business, which is the transitional point into high heart business models. And now collaboration is anchored into high heart consciousness, because high heart is linked to, is linked with the collective rather than the individual. So that the heart energy is the anchor point into our physical and spiritual natures. It's the point at which we connect the two. The high heart is taking us into this collective level of engagement, but it happens most particularly when you also engage in core energy, and collaboration works when it's collaborative energy, when it is flowing through core and high heart, is exponentially increasing the power available to bring to the world, to create. So it's kind of really important that we are coming at the principle of collaboration from the viewpoint that we are creating for collective benefit. So trying to, collaboration in order to, I think this is where with the competitive models have fallen down. So collaboration with a view to, which I put this in the most sort of, no, I was going to say lining your own pockets, but that just, I'm not sure that really conveys what I'm talking about. But the particularly with businesses, there's always been, it's always been about needing to have a return on it, a bottom line return on it. Whereas actually, if you are creating your business in order to have that vision, that purpose, that passion that comes from within on the internal level, then that's completely different. It changes the benchmarks for your business. So it's intricately linked into the high heart shift that is currently in play. Before I do the main bit, I just wanted to say one thing about the elements and how they play out in this. So every part of your internal collaboration, every part of your external collaboration is linked to one of the elements. So your passion is linked to your fire energy, and connection is with others is linked to your water energy, and your mind is linked to air energy. So that everything that you are nurturing is actually linked to a particular element. And when we engage all of the elements in the way that we operate and the energies that are flowing through us, then we create on it in a completely different way than if we are just working with the one. So when we just think about, okay, I'm just going to work on my body, so I'm just going to engage with earth energy, then that's still creating, but it's not creating as much as if you say, right, I'm going to consciously engage my body and my mind and my emotions and my passion at the same time. Then you become more holistic and more engaged on all levels, and also more able to create. So what was I going to say? What did that say? Engaging. Yes. Now, when it comes to the elements, there is a fifth element, and the fifth element is ether. Now, there's lots of different ways of thinking about this, but the way that it makes sense to me is that we have those four elements. We actually have more than that, but we have those four elements, and they are concentrated into form through you as a creator, and you create the fifth element, which is ether, by bringing them all together. So you work to do that for yourself, and then when you move into external collaboration, you are bringing a level of harmony naturally to whatever it is that you're creating with others. That means that you are in a better position to collaborate with life. So working on yourself is the precursor to being able to make those big changes in the world. So that's sort of the background I wanted to share. Before we move into doing a little bit of an immersion into collaborating with possibility. So if you have the ability to do this now, this is not, we don't need to go too deep into this. So as long as you have a little bit of peace and quiet, you will be good. And what I wanted to say, coming back to the elements, is this experience, when I was feeling into it, was operating on the horizontal plane between water and air. So it is working on the mental and emotional realm to flow into possibilities. That was what was needed. So if you can begin to take some deep breaths, just begin to relax and settle yourself. And as you settle, there will be lights around you. Be some golden light moving around you, and probably some coloured lights as well. And as they move around you, they're creating a grid or a geometric shape, gradually coming into a form. And as they begin to come into form, they also begin to, that form begins to fill with colour. And all you need to do is settle into this energy, to find your resonance with it, and just to calibrate to do it. And as you are experiencing this energy, it is worth being aware of where in your body you are feeling it the most. I'm getting the sensation that it's connecting to specific chakras on your body, which is an indication of your particular skill and energy that you bring to collaboration. I'm guessing that will make sense to some or all of you. So I have 5 questions now that you can ask in this space. And the first is, what is possible for me to create with my life and for my life? And the second question is, what does it ask of me? Thinking energetically and practically to integrate the change that comes through action and behavior. So what does it ask of me? Question 3 is, what are my callings into collaboration? Who, what, when, where? Where do you need to focus on collaboration at this time? And the 4th question is, how does the energy of collaboration feel in my body? And the final question is, how can I nurture it? And every single one of you will be having a completely different experience and having completely different answers to all of these questions. And likely some of the answers that you're getting will surprise you. And those are the questions that you can ask yourself now and any time that you want to go back into the focus on collaboration. And there are 2 journal questions I think that I can offer you as well to think about. One is, how and why does this challenge me? Because every change challenges in some way or shape or form. And question 2 is, how will I thrive if I answer the challenge? So to me, collaboration is pivotal to where business is going. And it's pivotal because learning to collaborate with ourselves is the starting point to being able to collaborate with life, to collaborate, to create a world that we all want to thrive in, and that, you know, that the world is just generally thriving, that all aspects of our world are thriving. So we're learning to collaborate, to be consciously choosing to collaborate with, rather than pushing out or blocking off some of that energy that is available to us, and learning more about ourselves in the process. So that is the energy of collaboration. If you have any questions about that, I'm obviously always open to that, and available to you to answer those. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch off the recording, and I'm going to see if anybody's got any questions. And if there are any that I think are very valuable to share, then I will do a synopsis of those, and any responses that we've got. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And so if you've got any questions, come back to me and let me know.